Ladies, listen to me closely today because this is the moment many of you have been waiting for without even realizing it. The day a woman owns her worth is the day she finally stops apologizing for being herself. And this shift is not loud. It is silent, deep, and completely life-changing. From childhood, women are trained to say sorry even when they have done nothing wrong. Sorry for speaking too loudly. Sorry for wanting more. Sorry for expressing emotions. Sorry for taking a stand. Sorry for dreaming differently. But when a woman begins to understand her value, she realizes that these apologies were never hers to carry. She understands that she was raised to shrink so others could feel big, to stay soft so others would not feel threatened, to stay quiet so others could remain comfortable. But the moment she owns her worth, she takes back the voice she once silenced. A woman who knows her worth does not hide her intelligence. She does not pretend to be less capable. She does not downplay her achievements to make someone else feel secure. She does not apologize for choosing herself, for wanting peace, for needing space, or for protecting her energy. She shows up fully, loud if she wants, soft as she chooses, bold because she can, and honest because she deserves to be. This transformation is not arrogance. It is liberation. A liberated woman stops seeking permission to exist. She stops waiting for acceptance to feel valid. She stops asking others to define her identity. She stands tall, not because the world gave her confidence, but because she finally realized it was hers all along. When a woman stops apologizing for existing, she does not just change her life. She reclaims herself. She starts walking into rooms with the energy of someone who knows she belongs there. She speaks with the clarity of someone who trusts her own mind. She moves with the power of someone who has decided she will no longer dim her light. That is the magic of a woman who owns her worth. Her presence becomes undeniable. Her voice becomes unshakable. Her existence becomes unapologetically hers. Ladies, let me tell you something powerful. A woman who knows her worth becomes impossible to break, manipulate, or control. She becomes a force of nature, calm, confident, and deeply committed to protecting her peace. And the reason is simple. When a woman owns her worth, she stops staying where she is not valued. For years, many women stay in relationships, friendships, and environments that drain their spirit, not because they lack strength, but because they were taught to tolerate, adjust, compromise, and make things work. They absorb disrespect because they confuse endurance with love. They stay silent because they confuse peace with avoidance. They overgive because they confuse sacrifice with loyalty. But the day she owns her worth, she suddenly sees the truth. Not everyone deserves access to her heart, her energy, or her presence. A woman rooted in her worth no longer chases people who do not value her. She no longer fights for a place where she is treated as an option. She no longer begs for attention that should come naturally. She no longer convinces someone to love her the right way. She walks away, not as a sign of weakness, but as a declaration of self-respect. And she does not walk away with drama or anger. She walks away with dignity, with the calm confidence of someone who knows that losing her is their loss, not hers. She begins to understand that peace is more important than pretending, honesty more important than expectations, and self-love more important than approval. She sets boundaries not to punish others, but to protect her soul. She chooses people who choose her. She invests where love is mutual. She stays where her presence is treasured. And the world begins to respond differently to her because people can feel when a woman has learned to value herself. They sense that she will not be disrespected, ignored, or taken for granted. She becomes a woman who commands respect simply through the way she carries herself. When a woman owns her worth, she does not just leave unhealthy places, she outgrows them. Ladies, let me tell you something the world fears the most. A woman who knows her worth becomes unstoppable, and nothing signals that transformation more clearly than the rise of her standards. Not forced, not dramatic, completely natural and effortless. A woman who once settled now becomes selective, not because she is hard to please, but because she finally understands what she deserves. She no longer entertains shallow conversations, half-hearted love, or inconsistent behavior. She no longer tolerates disrespect disguised as jokes, emotional manipulation disguised as care, or selfishness disguised as love. She sees through things that once confused her. Her clarity becomes her strength. Her standards rise in friendships. No more fake support. No more jealousy. No more one-sided effort. She chooses people who lift her, not drain her. Her standards rise in relationships. No more begging for love. No more waiting for attention. No more accepting the bare minimum. She chooses someone who chooses her every day. Her standards rise in her career. No more undervaluing her skills. No more staying silent in rooms where she deserves to speak. No more accepting less than her worth. She stops giving discounts on her value. She stops explaining her boundaries. She stops feeling guilty for wanting more because she realizes that wanting more is not greed. It is self-respect. And when a woman's standards rise, her life rises with them. Her choices improve. Her relationships strengthen. Her peace deepens. Her vision expands. She starts attracting better because she has become better. She starts receiving more because she finally believes she deserves more. A woman with high standards does not need to prove her worth. She simply refuses to lower it. There is something incredibly powerful about a woman who knows her worth. She becomes a living example of courage. Her presence becomes an invitation for other women to rise. Without speaking a single word, she begins to empower everyone around her. A woman rooted in her worth becomes a mirror. She shows other women what confidence looks like. She shows them what boundaries look like. She shows them what self-love feels like. She shows them that strength does not mean hardness. It means honesty. She becomes a woman who leads not by talking, but by being. She inspires her daughters to speak boldly. She inspires her sisters to choose themselves. She inspires her friends to stop settling. She inspires strangers simply by walking into a room with grace and power. Her transformation becomes a ripple effect. One woman's courage becomes another woman's awakening. Women see her and think, if she can walk away from disrespect, maybe I can too if she can speak her truth. Why am I afraid if she can choose herself? Then I can choose myself. This is how women change women. Not through lectures, but through example. Not through instruction, but through authenticity. A woman who owns her worth becomes a lighthouse. She does not drag anyone forward. She shines and others find their way because of her. She does not lift others by sacrificing herself. She lifts them by showing what is possible. When a woman knows her worth, she does not rise alone. She becomes the reason someone else rises. And that is how generations change, one awakened woman at a time.